Here's your opportunity to spend an evening at the new Radisson Plaza Hotel and benefit the American Heart Association. We'll tell you all about it coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're in the Presidential Suite, the top floor of the Radisson Plaza Hotel, Myrtle Beach Convention Center. We're focused on the hotel's grand opening and the 9th annual Heart Ball, scheduled to be held here on February 22nd. And we're visiting with Michael King, the Director of Real Estate Sales at Grand Dunes Properties. Michael, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thanks so much for being one of the sponsors of this year's Heart Ball to help celebrate the recognition of fighting cardiovascular disease and strokes on a daily basis. Grand Dunes Properties and Burrs and Chapin Company have really made a big commitment here this year, as in many years, to support not only the Heart Ball, but the Heart Walk and lots of other events the Heart Association has on an annual basis. And we want to have an opportunity to spotlight some of the sponsors and thank them for their efforts this year. Can we talk real quick about yourself? Are you originally from the area?
Actually, I moved to Myrtle Beach when I was 11. So I pretty much consider myself a local, so I've been down here a few years.
Do you still have family in the area?
I do. Actually, I have my mom and dad, Jean and John King, my sister and her husband, Gwen and Tommy Parrish, and I have two nieces, Hannah and Haley.
Great.
Yes.
And they're all here in...
They're all here in Myrtle Beach, yes.
That's fantastic, having family close at hand. When did you first get active and interested in real estate sales?
When I was very young. I grew up sitting around the dinner table with my mom and dad, and when I was about 15, I really got interested in the business, and I knew at a very young age what I wanted to do, and I got into it full time when I was 21, got my license when I was 18.
You got your license at 18?
Yes.
And got into it full time at 21. Did you begin your career in Myrtle Beach?
I began my career here in Myrtle Beach, yes.
That's amazing. Was that your first job as an adult?
First job as an adult, I guess you could say that. I grew up working for Dino Thompson and Dino DeRosas at Cagney's.
Right.
And when I switched from being a waiter at Cagney's, then that's when I moved over to real estate.
That's spectacular. It's so exciting to think to be able to start in a job coming out of youth, something small and something big like that, big to you as a youth, but to be able to expand that into working in real estate sales in this area in particular, and to think about a destination that you've ended up, which will go on for many, many years to come, the Grand Dunes Properties.
That's correct, yes.
Can we talk about Grand Dunes real quick for the viewers who, the bulk of our viewers are in the PD, up in Robinson and Scotland County, Columbus County, and North Carolina. A little less than a third of our viewers are in Horry County. So there are a lot of viewers who may not be familiar with Grand Dunes Properties. Can you give them a feel of what you got and where it's going?
Sure. Grand Dunes is a 2,200-acre development. We have almost a mile of oceanfront and 6 miles of intercoastal waterway. A lot of people don't know that.
Wow, no.
We have single-family lots that start around 140 and go up as high as $3 million. We have multifamily product that start around 250 and go up to over $2 million. We've got single-family homes that start right around 400 and go up to over $4 million. So we have a lot of wide variety of product. A lot of people, it's funny, a lot of people say, you can't get into Grand Dunes for less than $1 million. Well, that certainly is not true. But down on the ocean front, we have a 25,000 square foot ocean club that's absolutely magnificent. We've got our first marina that's under construction at this time. That's going to be a 13-acre marina, 129 slips. We've got our first golf course finished. As a matter of fact, that's a Roger Rorich course. That was voted as one of the top 10 new courses in the country by Golf Magazine. We're very proud of that. Getting ready to start construction on our second golf course. We have our swim, tennis, and fitness center that is a beautiful facility. As a matter of fact, our tennis facility won the South Carolina Tennis Facility of the Year for 2002.
Wow.
So we're starting out on the right track, and we also plan on having a world-class sport and health club, European-type day spa, everything you would find in a very upscale community.
Right. For viewers who have difficulty imagining what it's like when someone says, I want to buy a $4 million home or a $3 million lot on a daily basis, I guess you're communicating with folks all over the world who want to end up in their lives in Myrtle Beach and want to spend a lot of their life here. What's that like dealing with folks all over the world?
Well, it's wonderful. You see all different walks of life, and you get to meet so many different people. And But believe it or not, right now, 65% of our purchasers are from North and South Carolina.
Come on.
Which is amazing. Yes. We're targeting the baby boomers. That's who we're targeting because they're spending the big money like that. Mm-hmm. So that's who we target, and the majority, like I say, of our people are from North and South Carolina. But we do get them from all over the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mike, you said you've been here since age 11.
Uh-huh.
Can you give the viewers a sense a little bit of some of the changes that have happened for viewers who may be new to the area and can't really gauge prior to Grand Dunes or prior to a new hotel like this opening up on the Strand? What's it been like seeing some of those changes since age 11? Absolutely
been incredible. When I first moved down here, you could stand out on 17 on a Saturday night at 11 o'clock and wait 20 minutes and a car wouldn't even go by. So that has definitely changed. The hotels, for instance, this facility here, absolutely magnificent. And, I would have never thought that this would have been here, in my lifetime. But Myrtle Beach is really changing. We're getting the money down here now. A lot of the people that have been down here forever are really taking their money and expanding on what they've already done, and it's bringing a lot of people into town. So we're getting them from all over.
And speaking of amazing hotels, isn't another amazing hotel going up on Grand Dunes properties in the near future?
Certainly is. As a matter of fact, under construction right now is a 14-story Marriott. It's going to be a 4-star Marriott, which there's only a few of those in the country, so we're very proud of that as well.
How did you end up with your position at Burris & Chapin, Michael?
A lot of luck and hard work.
Wow. Yeah.
No, I worked very hard. I was in charge of another division that handled condominium sales for Burris & Chapin. I had some great sales professionals working with me. And as a matter of fact, we were written up in Inc. magazine as the top sales team in the country. We sold about 3,000 condos in 5.5 years. So that kind of helped. We got a celebrity
here, viewers. We got a celebrity here. That's amazing.
That definitely
I didn't know
helped.
that.
Yeah. So, and also I had to prove myself. When I got involved with Grand Dunes, which was about 6 years ago. A lot of people don't realize, but Grand Dunes has been on the drawing board for about 25 years.
Oh, come on.
About 25 years. And about 6 years ago, we started meeting on a weekly basis. And we hired a gentleman named Daddle Brown from Florida. He was the president of Mobile Oil Development for the entire state of Florida. We were very fortunate to get him. And I had to prove myself to him. So I worked hard and had a little bit of luck, and I was invited into this position.
Now, I thought I remember Burris & Chapin had acquired a heck of a lot of land in the recent past to help round out Grand Dunes. Hadn't there been a lot of land on the other side of the waterway where the golf course is now?
Yes, exactly right. There's 975 acres over there that was acquired, I would say probably about 8 or 9 years ago. But the property that they had from the waterway to the ocean, they've had, for a long, long time.
Can we talk about, even 6 years ago when you first got involved with Grand Dunes, what the local reaction, both in the business community as well as the political community, to the eventual recognition that Grand Dunes is coming?
Well, it's kind of funny. I mean, they were all for it. They were anxious to see what was really going to happen. A lot of people told me that, with the prices that you're getting there, it'll never happen. And I said, well, you're right. These kind of prices have not been spent in Myrtle Beach before, but it's because there was something this magnitude never offered. So now that it's offered, sales have been wonderful. We did, last year we did a little over $65 million in sales, and this year we're slated to do a little over 100. So we're very, very pleased with that.
Over $100 million in sales within the entire 2,200-acre development?
That's exactly right.
Now, that would deal with, and where would the primary number of sales be occurring? On this side of the waterway, on the Myrtle Beach side, or on the Conway side?
Greg, I'm asked that a lot. Actually, on both sides. I mean, we're selling $2.3 and $2.4 million homes on the west side of the waterway. So it's kind of spread out.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Can you talk about some of the amenities that would be recognized? I know you talked about the clubhouse on the ocean, obviously the tennis club. Right. Are there other things that you try to really focus on when folks are coming to visit, as you said, from all over the world, things you really want them to see when they're visiting town?
I'm really working right now on getting a world-class day spa there to have all the baths and the different kind of wraps and the whole 9 yards that you would find in a very upscale community. That's one high priority that I have right now. Then after that would probably be a world-class sport and health club. A lot of times you go to these cities and you see these big Scandinavias and Bally's and places like that. I think Myrtle Beach is about ready for something like that, and I would like to get that involved with Grand Dunes. And
with some of the recognition that this will be happening over the next, is the build out of Grand Dunes for the next 20 years, 10
Exactly
years?
right. It's about 25 years. Yes,
okay.
It certainly is.
Okay. What will the addition of a Marriott on the ocean do to Grand Dunes? Will that enable you will you have a real estate sales office, for instance, there? Will that enable you to cater to folks who are just visiting the area on an irregular basis?
Mm-hmm. We will. We'll have a desk set up within the Marriott, and I'm very, very much looking forward to that. But the Marriott's really going to bring, as is the Radisson, bring a whole new clientele to Myrtle Beach. It'll really open it up not only for Grand Dunes, but for the entire community.
Mm-hmm. Is Grand Dunes involved on a regular basis in supporting local charities?
Yes, they are. As a matter of fact, this spring they're going to do the Children's Miracle Network golf tournament, and that's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of celebrities are going to be here, a lot of professional golf players, a lot of professional football players, hockey players. I mean, we're going to have a lot of people there, so that'll be a nice event to go to. We should raise a lot of money for that as well.
Very definitely. Why do you think that Burrs and Chapin and Grand Dunes properties in this instance have wrapped around the Heart Association in such a special way, and why do you think other businesses locally should support the American Heart Association?
Well, heart disease is like the number 1 or 2 killer in the United States, so that reason within itself is why a lot of people should get involved with it. But it also has hit home. As a matter of fact, last summer I had a sales professional pass away with a heart attack. Heart disease ran in his family. And his name was Bill James, an incredible human being. Not only was it a loss to me, it was a loss to our community. He was driving to work one morning and had a sudden heart attack and left us. So that hit close to home.
And you've had other family members that have been affected by heart disease.
Exactly right. I have it. It kind of runs in my family, so I love to donate to the Heart Association every year.
If someone wanted to learn more about Grand Dunes properties, who would they best want to contact? If a viewer, let's say in Laurinburg or up in Hartsville, wanted to learn about Grand Dunes, is there a place they can find out more?
Oh, definitely. Obviously on our website, www.granddunes.com, and remember that Grand has an E on the end of it. And also we can be reached toll-free at 877-347-2633.
And you mentioned Grand that has an E in the middle there, or E at the end. What do you think inspired the pronunciation or the spelling of Grand with an E?
Well, it's the whole Spanish Mediterranean type flair, and the correct pronunciation is Grande. But everyone says Grand. We say Grand. It's a little bit easier to remember. But it's that whole Addison Meisner type architecture that we're doing within Grand Dunes is why we have that kind of flair to it.
And that's what viewers would see if they visited Grand Dunes for the first time.
Yes, that's right. Addison Meisner was an architect that came to South Florida in the early 1920s, I think it was, and introduced the style that you see in South Florida, the actual true stucco with the barrel tile roofs.
Michael, if you weren't currently the director of real estate sales for Grand Dunes properties, what do you think you'd be doing?
I would definitely be in sales, no doubt about it. I would probably be the director of sales somewhere else.
Right.
I would hope to be.
Right.
Yes, I love selling. It's I think you either have a knack in doing it or you don't. So I'm sure I would be in sales.
For viewers in the area who may not have a knack at sales, what is it? What is it that drives you about sales? What's the experience there? What's so thrilling?
It's the competitiveness. Sometimes we get a little bit older to compete in sports, and we have to compete in other things. So making a sale, as long as you believe in it, is a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling.
And competing in sports is something you've been doing, or competing in other hobbies, something you've been doing for a long time?
All my life, yes. I grew up in the Myrtle Beach school systems. I played football here for Myrtle Beach High School. The whole 4 years I played football, we lost 4 games. 3 of them were my freshman year. So I've always been kind of used to winning. That kind of got me on the start.
Oh, wow.
Then I got into volleyball, beach volleyball real big. Played a lot of beach volleyball. And we do have some incredible talent around Myrtle Beach here, as well as we used to. So I've always been involved in competitive sports.
Is there any accomplishments over the last 12 months of which you'd probably be most proud, Michael? I'm
proud of the business that we did at Grand Dunes. Again, we were pioneering with bringing Grand Dunes to the market and the prices and the things that we had. And I'm proud of the $65 million in sales we did last year. Again, because a lot of people said that, it can't be done. You just can't get that kind of money for property in Myrtle Beach. And we are slowly changing their minds about that.
Michael, I wanted to ask one last question. When you think about all the folks that have impacted your life over the last handful of years since you've been here in Myrtle Beach, can you think of anyone in particular who's inspired you?
I can. Obviously, my parents. They play a big part of my life. Very, very close family. Also, some of my employers, Dino Thompson and Dino DeRosas at Cagney's. They were an inspiration to me very young. Opened up a restaurant at a very young age and have been quite successful. Also, recently, Daddle Brown, the gentleman that we brought on from Mobil Oil out of South Florida, he is an inspiration to me. So there's been quite a few people in my life that has inspired me to be successful.
Very definitely. Michael King, the Director of Real Estate Sales for Grand Dunes Properties, inspired by his parents and employers to succeed and to work hard and to give back to his community. And Grand Dunes and Burrs and Chapin are doing just that. Michael, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. My pleasure.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're in the Presidential Suite, the top floor of the Radisson Plaza Hotel, Myrtle Beach Convention Center. We're focused on its grand opening and the 9th annual Hardball to be held here on February 22nd. And we're visiting with Angie Porter, the Director of the Critical Care Unit at Conway Medical Center. Good morning, Angie. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Hey, Greg. Nice to meet you again.
Incredible opportunity to highlight and thank Conway Medical Center and so many of the sponsors that are helping to make this year's Hardball a great success. And we wanted to have an opportunity to get some feedback from you as to what happens when someone visits a critical care unit and how cardiology and the study and fighting cardiovascular disease on a daily basis, like the Heart Association does, can actually benefit people every day. Can we talk real quick about yourself? Are you originally from the area?
Yes, I am.
You're from Horry
Conway.
County? You're from Conway.
Conway.
That's great. How long have you, did you ever go away for school or go away for anything? Have you been here your whole life?
Actually, I went to school here at Coastal Carolina College.
Is that right? Do you have family here in the area still, Angie?
Yes, most of my family's here.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have any children? Do you mind me asking?
No, I have 2 daughters.
Oh, great.
One's 10 and one's 20.
One is 20? My
Yes.
Lord, you're not old enough to have a 20-year-old.
Oh, she makes me old.
Golly, Angie, that's amazing.
They're both great.
I'm sure. Are they here in the area?
Yes.
Wonderful. What was your first position after you finished school?
Nursing. I went straight into nursing at Conway Hospital, which is now Conway Medical Center.
Had you always thought growing up that you'd get into nursing?
Always.
Really?
For as long as I can remember.
What prompted that? What was there anything in your youth, I guess, playing doctor or playing nurse? I mean, had there been anything in your youth that prompted, had any other family members been in the medical profession?
Actually, I have one relative that's a dentist, and that's the only other relative and one's a dental hygienist.
Mm-hmm.
The earliest memory I have of wanting to be a nurse is my sister always brought home animals that are sick. And I remember just liking to take care of them and then let her have them after they were well. And I remember a bird with a broken wing. That's my earliest memory of wanting to be a nurse.
And wanting to take care of that bird.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. How long have you worked in the critical care unit, and what were the events that took place to enable you to become its director?
I actually, right out of nursing school, I started on the med-surg units. And I worked there for a couple of years. And then I went into critical care nursing. And I staff nursed for about 6 years. And I was promoted to manager of critical care.
That's wonderful. And what services are provided by your unit?
Our unit, actually critical care at Conway Medical Center consists of the intensive care unit, the progressive care unit, and the cardiac cath lab. And about 60% of our patient population is cardiac pulmonary.
Is that right?
That's a large percent.
Mm-hmm. And some of the procedures that you all do in the unit, are those done normally in inpatient or?
Inpatient is on, our intensive care patients are only inpatients, and there are procedures that we do right in the unit that provides cardiac diagnostics.
Who normally refers patients to you?
To the intensive care unit. Usually they're physicians from the outside or from the emergency department. Those are referred to us from there.
Do you do anything differently for patients coming in through the emergency room?
It depends on what the patient's situation is. If the patient's in a crisis, a cardiac crisis, they could be receive thrombolytics in the ED there, and then transported to the cath lab for a cath, and if they need to be transferred for interventions, then they are. For bypass or for angioplasty, they're transferred out. If it's medical intervention, then we can send them up to ICU and take care of them there.
Okay. And what are you normally looking for in a patient's test results before recommending to transfer them on further?
We look at their EKG reports, blood work, to see if there's any cardiac involvement with whatever's going on with the patient. And those results determine where we go from there, whether it's to the cath lab, up to the ICU for further observation or more intensive observation. And then if they do reach the cath lab, depending on those results, the degree or severity of the blockages depends on whether they're transferred or we keep them.
Can we talk real quick about patient profiles and how those have changed over the years in your experience?
The one thing that, the one patient profile that we've noticed is that we have a younger population of patients that have cardiac disease. And more specific to our hospital at Conway Medical Centers, we've noticed that our cardiac patients are sicker. And in some discussion with Dr. Gresco, it seems to be that the community has more faith in our ability to take care of them. And of course, we have grown in our ability to take care of them. We now have 3 full-time cardiologists at the hospital from Waccamaw Cardiology, with the plan of having the 4th one in June. So our cardiac services is growing.
So you've seen a growing need for cardiac diagnosis.
Oh, absolutely. We got our first lab in June of 2000, and we're now looking at our certificate of need for our 2nd cardiac cath lab.
Is that right? Angie, what factors do you think contribute to those patients' continued cardiac problems?
It could be several issues or factors that contribute to them. Age, as I said before, the progression of the disease. Sometimes it's compliance. Some patients continue to smoke, continue to not eat properly or exercise. Could be that the lack of resources to medications.
Are your patients referred to a cardiac rehab program pretty regularly?
Yes, they are.
Is that out at Conway Medical Center?
We have our own cardiac rehab program.
Right.
It is a wonderful program.
How about the American Heart Association's impact on helping to fight heart disease and stroke? Do you see that on a regular basis, Angie?
Absolutely. The American Heart Association, it helps our patient. And our mission at Conway Medical Center is to promote health in the community, not only good health with the patients that are in the hospital. And the American Heart Association provides us with guidelines on how to care for our cardiac patients. It promotes our professional development through workshops and seminars. It also teaches our patients and provides teaching tools for our patients on lifestyle changes. And we use those heavily in our cardiac rehab program and our practice every day.
Great.
As a guideline.
How long have you been volunteering to support the American Heart Association, Angie?
For 3 years, I've been working with Tammy Eves on ticket sales and sponsorships for the Heart Ball here in Horry County.
And you're exclusively focused on the Heart Ball, or do you get active with the Ride-a-thon or the Heart Walk or golf tournaments?
I've done some with the Heart Walk, too, but usually it's with the Heart Ball.
And how did you first become involved with your support of the American Heart Association?
Dr. Gresco introduced me to Tammy Eves and asked could I work on the committee and be on the board.
At a meeting recently, I think I saw you speak about helping to get folks out to buy tickets to the ball. What do you normally use as a catchphrase to get folks excited about out trying to encourage other people to buy tickets to the ball or to purchase sponsorships to show a community business support of fighting heart disease and stroke, Angie?
Well, as I've said, American Heart sells itself through the findings from this research. There's not many people that heart disease has not touched in some way, especially in the medical profession where we take care of these patients every day and see the outcomes of heart disease with them. Other than that, in talking about the education it provides, the new surgeries that is found, is the event itself. The Heart Ball is a great time. It has a great band, good music, great auction items. It's great. Great time.
You heard Angie Porter say it, the director of the Critical Care Unit. Great band, great food, great time. This year's 2003 Heart Ball, February 22nd, here at the new Radisson Plaza Convention Center Hotel. Angie, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. It's not too late to be a part of this year's Heart Ball and grand opening celebration of the new Radisson Plaza Hotel, Myrtle Beach Convention Center on February 22nd. Call 843-626-3939.